What's up, YouTube? This is James coming back at you with another informative video. I hope you guys are doing well out there on this Tuesday evening. I'm doing pretty good myself. Shout out to my wife, Joan, for hipping us to this particular story right here. The other day, there was a massive dust storm in Illinois that actually killed 6 people and injured 30 other people. And I'm telling you, the footage from the wreckage of the cars was just terrible. A lot of cars were, smashed up, even looked like they, had caught fire. So I was able to find a clip here, probably about the duration of 5 minutes, a little bit more. And then we'll watch that and then we'll get into the commentary.
A multi-vehicle crash on I-55 in Illinois claimed several lives and shuts down the interstate.
This crash scene is south of Springfield between Divernon and Farmersville. We have extensive live team coverage beginning with extreme weather specialist Chris Higgins and the Woods Basement System storm runner. And Chris, we can hear just how windy it is out there.
Yeah, I tell you what, I'm trying to block my microphone as much as I can, so if it sounds muzzled, that's why. We are getting buffeted, and this whole region of Illinois has been buffeted by 40 to 55 mile an hour winds off and on all morning long. The scene of the accident here is behind me. This is Interstate 55 right on the Montgomery-Sangamon County line here, about an hour or so north of St. Louis. As you heard Patrick say coming into the show, and we're going to talk to him here in a little bit, dozens upon dozens of private vehicles and commercial vehicles involved in this accident late this morning, and the cleanup continues here and will continue. In fact, JC, come over here. You can see one of the cars they're literally lifting up and putting up on this flatbed right next to me. That looks like one of the cars that maybe had minor damage compared to some of the other cars that we have seen get picked up. Now, here is what happened here today. This really was a perfect storm, if you will, of horrible, horrible conditions. You had, first of all, a great weekend for farmers to get out into their fields. And every field along I-55 here in southern and central Illinois looks like it has been tilled and plowed in preparation for planting, and we had a great weekend for that. Then on top of that, it's been dry for the past few days. And on top of that, you have that loose soil on top. You put a 50 mile an hour wind gust on that's buffeting that. It reminds me a lot of what I saw when I was deployed in the desert back in 2008. A couple of hot spots in Syria, we called them, where the wind would come and hit it, and you had all that loose soil, and it would blow up into a big plume. Unfortunately here, it blew up into a big plume, came right up over Interstate 55, reduced visibilities down to 0. We experienced that at times on our way up here, and unfortunately, this is the result. Patrick has all the details on the numbers of fatalities, how many cars were involved, and how long this interstate's been closed. But looking at the, in fact, JC, come with me right now. Look at the lineup here of flatbeds. It's just one after, it's a conveyor belt of flatbeds set up here on I-55. They load a car on back behind us, and then they move the conveyor belt, and they do it over and over again. The winds are still howling up here, easily pushing 50 miles an hour at times. The top gust at the nearest airport, Springfield, Illinois, up at Lincoln Airport, just up the road from here, they hit 54 miles per hour at a little bit after 3 o'clock this afternoon. That's the latest from down at this location on the ground. I'm extreme weather specialist Chris Higgins with the Woods Basement System storm runner, but I want to send it to Patrick Clark. He has all the details on this accident. Patrick.
Yeah, thank you very much, Chris. Well, we're on the north side of that. What you're seeing with those cars, we've seen over the last few minutes a stream of burned out cars and tow trucks making their way here to Divernon, Illinois, which is where we are. I want to show you, these are a couple of semi-trucks that they just dropped off just minutes before we went on the air here. After this massive crash this morning, Illinois State Police still working the scene. They're trying to find out. 6 people killed, more than 30 people transported to hospitals after a massive dust storm early this morning. Illinois State Police Traffic Accident Reconstruction, as Chris mentioned, on the scene and investigating that crash, removing vehicles, waiting for the winds to die down before opening up Interstate 55. Now, authorities say that might not happen until later tonight or early tomorrow morning. Approximately 10:53 this morning, Montgomery County EMA tells us that the Farmersville Wagner Ambulance and Fire Service were paged to respond to a multi-vehicle accident just north of mile marker 75. Now, fire departments and ambulance services from Montgomery, Macoupin, Christian, and Sangamon counties responded to the scene.
Trying to get to the victims in a rapid manner. We had multiple vehicles involved. Some were on fire, so we had vehicle fires to extinguish. We had to search every vehicle, whether they were involved in the accident or just pulled over, to check for injuries.
Yeah, checking for injuries. As we said, more than 30 people transported to 4 area hospitals between Springfield and Litchfield, Illinois. That section of I-55, Interstate 55, both the northbound and southbound lanes are closed. Illinois State Police recommending not coming this way if you can avoid it. Closed between Divernon, where we are, and Raymond, Illinois, just north of Litchfield. In Divernon, Illinois, Patrick Clark, Fox 2 News.
I also wanted to show you guys the shape of some of those cars was in after this happened, in Illinois. And I got a little bit of the, footage here. Check this out.
So we had vehicle fires to extinguish. We had to search every vehicle, whether they were involved in the accident or just pulled over, to check for injuries.
6 people killed, more than 30 victims transported to hospitals. Also between 40 and 60 vehicles involved, along with 20 semis, 2 of which caught fire.
I've seen it before, but nothing like today. Today was like the worst day ever.
Wesley White was heading to a funeral at the time of the dust storm. Fortunately, he took the back roads. For several hours, crews towed vehicles involved to a local service station as investigators assessed the damage. Some vehicles charred, others with their hazard lights still blinking hours later.
Just unbelievable. You see some of the cars over there, just how bad it was. Just pray for the families.
Now, the identities of those killed in the crash have not yet been released. The 30 or so folks hospitalized, their injuries range from minor to life-threatening. Officials say those victims are between the ages of 2 years old and 80 years old. Right now, we're told that about at least 10 miles of I-55, the area where this crash occurred, should be closed or expected to be closed through tomorrow afternoon. We're live in Divernon. Nate Rogers, Fox 32, Chicago.
Wow. What a devastating situation with this dust storm right here that would claim the lives of 6 people and injure like 30 more. Look, whenever you got, bad weather conditions, whether it be rain, sleet, or snow, and in this case, dust or even sand, it's always good to use common sense and slow down. Basically, did y'all see those cars? A lot of those cars were so smashed up, look like pop cans. You know what I mean? Look like pop cans that just been crunched up, to the point to be on, where you can even recognize them or what kind of car it was. Some of them were even scorched, burned, and everything else, just because these people fail to take their time, slow down. Of course, in bad weather, rather, even in like snow, and whatever, even, situations where it's heavy rain, you will have reduced visibility. You're not going to be able to see all that well. Now, it's not wise to still do 50, 60, or 70 miles an hour. That's basically downright stupid. Common sense should come in and say, let me slow down a little bit, because I cannot see in front of me or what's ahead of me. So that will reduce, my chances of reckoning to somebody. And that's what these people did. They just, went ahead and just floored the car and kept moving. And voila, here's the results, But I happen to see, there's a lot of things happening here. Sandstorms, a lot of tornadoes, and what have you. You know what I'm saying? And it's going to only get worse eventually. I did a video yesterday where it was in Palm Beach, Florida, where it went through and tore the place up and flipped over cars and left them stacked like Legos. You understand? Things like that. And then, dear Sister Queen, I know who I am, told me just the other day that Sunday, you know, where she lived, there was a terrible tornado there. You know, I'm going to try to see if I can find some footage of that particular situation as well, and we're going to cover that, you know. But thankfully, she was all right, you know, and her family was all right. But yeah, you know, this is just what it is in this day and age. And the scary part about it, we're going to get even more. So you want to make sure the Most High, you know, covers you and hopefully delivers you from this kind of thing right here, because when he sends these kind of things to happen, you know, there's going to be, you know, a lot of destruction and a lot of lives taken. That's just what it is. I want you guys to tell me what you think about this particular situation right here. I'm interested in hearing your thoughts, views, and opinions on it. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. And people, please remember to live your life as though we're being watched. Simply because we are. This is James, and I'm out. Peace.